Hello, my name is Nathan Henry, and I am the project manager for US Nature for Climate. And I want to thank you for joining me today for my presentation on strategies for effectively communicating natural climate solutions. Before I get started, I just want to provide a little bit of background on what US Nature for Climate is. We are a coalition of 9 organizations. Some are environmental NGOs, others are sustainable business organizations. There are also a few organizations that are a little more narrowly focused on issues relating to agriculture and forests. And our purpose is to conduct research, develop messaging, and coordinate communications between our partners to help educate opinion leaders and key influencers and mobilize them to take action on natural climate solutions. So, who are we trying to convince? Well, we want to mobilize support among climate engaged leaders. Those who are already focused on taking climate action, we want to encourage them to focus a little bit more on natural climate solutions as a climate mitigation strategy. We want to increase acceptance of natural climate solutions in the agriculture and forestry sectors. These are, landowners who we actually need to count on to implement natural climate solutions on their land. And finally, we want to educate policymakers about the benefits, particularly the socioeconomic benefits of natural climate solutions. So we started up as an organization back in September of 2020. And one of the first things we realized we had to do was create sort of a repository of information about natural climate solutions. So our first step was to create a website where we just put a lot of information on the science of natural climate solutions. And most importantly, what exactly are natural climate solutions? So I'm going to spare you reading the definition here, but essentially what natural climate solutions are land management strategies that you undertake on forests, farms, grasslands, and ranches and wetlands that sequester carbon and have numerous other benefits as well, socioeconomic benefits and other environmental co-benefits. So it's a very easy to navigate website, but the kind of fundamental problem with the website is that somebody has to proactively take action to go to your website to find this information. And that's a little bit difficult when you're a startup organization that not a lot of people know about in the early going. So to really try to extend the reach of our effort to try to make sure more people are understanding what natural climate solutions are, we created a video. And what this video did, it's only about a minute long. It explains what natural climate solutions are. It outlines the benefits of natural climate solutions in very relatable terms. And it's a very people-centric video. So I want to take a moment and actually show you this video that we launched back in September.
Imagine discovering a groundbreaking solution to climate change in your backyard, from our farms to our forests, from our wetlands to our ranches, and even our cities. While we must cut greenhouse gas emissions, our lands can contribute up to 30% of the solution to climate change in the U.S. That's the power of natural climate solutions. For example, reforestation can have the same impact as removing 64 million cars from the road. And for every 1% of cropland that uses healthy soil solutions, we can increase on-farm value by an estimated $37 million. Natural climate solutions make our communities healthier, protect access to the great outdoors, and create good-paying jobs that are rooted in America's natural and working lands. Across the country, people are harnessing the power of natural climate solutions for a cleaner environment and a stronger economy. Learn more at usnatureforclimate.org.
So a few things you can notice about this video. One, we tried to make the information very relatable. When talking about reforestation, we didn't say that it sequesters 100 million tons of carbon dioxide equivalents a year because nobody understands what that means. We instead said it has the same impact as removing 64 million cars from the road. So we tried to make the information relatable. And again, we put a lot of people in the video doing things because these are very people-centered strategies for addressing climate change. They require people to do things. And there are, again, numerous benefits for people and communities by implementing these solutions. And so we did have a pretty, I think, good amount of success increasing our reach with this video. We put it on our social media handles. We encouraged our partners to do the same. And we also supplemented it with some very highly targeted paid advertising. And what we found is that after a couple months of of advertising this, we had 210,000 impressions, 76,000 video views, and 20,000 engagements. I think 1,600 people ended up liking the video, 948 retweeted it. And so, to be honest, a lot of that came from the paid advertising, but it was really effective at getting our message a little bit more widely out there. Now, another key kind of objective of US Nature for Climate is to try to get the science around natural climate solutions a little bit more relatable to folks that we're trying to educate on the issue. And so I'm going to use a case study of a study that was put out back in December of 2020. A team led by Susan Cook Patton, who's a scientist at the Nature Conservancy, put out a study highlighting feasible and cost-effective options for reforestation in the United States. Reforestation is sort of a key natural climate solution strategy. Trees sequester a lot of carbon. And what this study basically says is, well, if we want to reforest America, where do we put all the trees? So she did this study. As you could see, it's a peer-reviewed, it's in a journal, and not a lot of kind of, I guess you could say, normal people will ever pick up a study like this and read it. So we wanted to work with the authors and with the organizations to make this information a little more accessible and relatable to non-scientists. So the first thing that the Nature Conservancy and American Forest, who partnered together on this work, did was they put together a website called the Reforestation Hub. And this is like an interactive web tool that really allows you to analyze at a granular level where geographically are the best opportunities for reforestation. They also made all the data from this study downloadable so that policymakers, state agency officials, whoever is making decisions about how to use land and where to potentially plant trees has access to the data. So that was a really important step to just make this information available to people making decisions. We also wanted to explain what the study is telling us, why it's important, and what we should do with this information in, again, much more relatable terms. So we worked with two of the authors, Susan Cook Patton and another gentleman named Eric Sprague with American Forest, to write out blog posts, which basically explain those exact questions above. And, this is important because, first of all, they use very plain English. They framed it in their own kind of life stories. And somebody is much more likely to read an 800-word blog post than a very hard to understand scientific paper. So that was kind of a key part of our strategy for getting the information out there. We also put together some infographics, which took out some key morsels of information from the study and put them in a format that we could easily share them on social media, which, again, we put it on our Twitter feeds. Our partners did the same, and it drew more attention to the study than we would have gotten otherwise. There were a few other things that we did to make sure that people are seeing this information. The communications departments at the Nature Conservancy and American Forest did a lot of press outreach, and were able to get some reporters to write on the story. We all put the study in our social media feeds, using the infographics, using the blog posts to kind of generate attention. And through this, we were able to get others in our networks to also amplify and elevate the study. And finally, we put a little bit of paid advertising behind it as well, which, again, we targeted very narrowly on our kind of key target audiences. And it just ended up drawing a lot more attention to the study than we would have gotten otherwise. So that's really the end of my presentation. And I look forward to answering questions from y'all in a little bit. Thank you.